We're starting with a look through the papers this morning. We have broadcasters and journalist Julia Hartley-Brewer and Gavin Ramjaran. Nice to see you. Terribly sad story. We've been talking a lot last week
trolling
and internet bullying, and here the headline in the Daily Mail: trolled to death. Hannah, age 14, the latest victim of merciless online bullies.
She took her life last Friday.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the comments that were coming in on this website, ask.fm, were quite sick, to be quite honest with you, and it was all to do with her seeking some help and a bit of sort of reassurance about her image on that website, and she was getting all sorts of stuff.
I think she suffered from eczema, didn't she?
Eczema, that's
She'd
right,
gone on
yeah.
to say, anybody got any tips?
Yeah, exactly. Just a self-help sort of way to sort of seek advice from other people who might be suffering the same thing out there. And her dad, Dave Smith, found her hanged in her room, and it's really harrowing to hear all the details.
I mean, everything about this. I have to say, the thing I find worrying is that if I had a teenage daughter, my little one's only 6 now, that she would be going online to get help. Come and talk to me. Come and talk to your dad. Come and talk to your friends. And these anonymous posts on Ask FM are particularly alarming. Some of the messages, and I don't think we can even read some of them out on there. They are so horrific from other teenagers. Now, as tragic, I mean, it's awful what happened to this little girl. I can't imagine what the family are going through. But I wonder about the children, because they are children, who are sending these messages. What state of mind are you in when you're telling someone to commit suicide? What is going on in your life? How unhappy you...
You wonder whether they even... It's just words, whether they really actually are thinking of the wider picture, the implications of this, because there have always been bullies.
There are always going to be
nasty
always
people,
will be
bullies.
But the thing is, you wouldn't allow your 14-year-old to chat on the phone for hours with someone they didn't know. You wouldn't allow them to chat. That person came to the door, stand at the door and chat to them, and yet we allow our children online to talk to people they don't know. I think parents really... I know I've got years to face this, you know, at 6 I don't have this issue, but I really think parents need to stand back and go, this maybe we might think it's all modern.
Actually,
it
makes
right.
me, you know, my son's 11, so I'm ahead of you, and you know he's not quite there yet. He doesn't have Facebook or anything, any social networking, but they have messaging on their phones. Is that I use these opportunities to talk to him about it, and I think you have to. You can't just say, "Oh well, kids, I never know what they're up to, and I don't understand all this technology."
You
have to be across it, and is to talk to him and say, "This is what happens on some of these sites," and actually. You would get to the stage, you know, of saying, don't go on them. You've got nice friends, you've got family, you don't need to be asking strangers. Talk to your friends and your family.
And it was anonymous as well, that all these comments that were coming on, they're all faceless. And we've seen some of the stuff in the news over the last week or so with Twitter and people abusing very well-known people, MPs, and that's the same sort of ilk, really. And when it leads to suicide, it's just absolutely disgraceful. And we've got a comment, actually, from the website. They've said, all users can switch off anonymous questions in their privacy settings, and if they do receive a question that they don't like or find offensive, they can block the user and decide to report the incident.
But the harm's done.
The harm's done, right.
And you know what? There is parental responsibility, because being a good parent is about parameters and about guidelines and about limitations, and often the parents have got to take responsibility for things that their kids say as well. Right, let's talk about other matters. This hamburger yesterday, this just fascinates me, so it does. Front page of The Sun, Brave Moo World is the headline. There it is there. Would you take a bite, Julia?
Do you know what? I asked this on my LBC show yesterday, and the majority of people said they would, particularly vegetarians and vegans who thought, it's cruelty-free meat.
Really?
But if you think about it, they served it in a Petri dish, which I think was perhaps not the right... It wasn't selling it to me. I was thinking of those old biology classes.
She didn't look too thrilled.
She didn't. The big complaint was they didn't get any ketchup with it, apparently. If you think about what a lot of burgers and sausages and things... I mean, I personally never watch any documentaries about what goes on in sausage factories, because I want to be able to still eat sausages.
At least you know what's in this.
Yeah, I think in a way it's safer. I think the name is one of the issues, and I did actually ask people, like, we need a better name for this than a sort of a test tube burger. And the best one I thought was, I can't believe it's not burger.
Would you?
Well, I think I probably would, just to be curious as to what it tasted like, you know, to be honest, because you know, there's a huge, I guess the kind of sentiment out there at the moment is there's a lot of hungry mouths out there to feed, and there's also not enough demand to meet meat production. So that's kind of why this sort of thing has been funded at 215 grand to make this burger, and they say that it tasted like a kind of protein-based soya product, which kind of doesn't really appeal to me too much, but I'd be curious to find out what it tasted like.
OK.
I'd be curious to find out if you didn't know, if you did a blind taste
test,
would you know the difference?
Yeah.
Apparently it was a bit crunchy on the outside, which is slightly off.
Maybe that's just how it's cooked.
I like a bit of crunchy on the outside. I do, personally. That's the way I like
Would
them
you try
done.
that?
Oh, come on, of course you would.
I don't understand. People are very
Artificially
squeamish.
coloured
Do you think
as
it's because it looks odd?
Beetroot
Beetroots,
colouring.
yeah.
Is it because you've seen it mixed in a
To be
petri
fair,
dish?
most of the things you get at burgers, those are coloured as well,
That's
because
true.
the meat,
Yeah.
it's
That's
not,
true.
it's meat in the loosest possible sense of the word.
Yes.
I think I'd rather
Yes.
eat that than some of the things that are out there, I have to say.
Right, neighbours. Gavin, do you know your neighbours?
Yes, I do. They're very
you?
lovely people.
Yeah.
Nicola and Dave, if they're watching. They look
Good morning, Nicola and Dave.
Julia?
We have very, very, very wonderful neighbours. Our daughters are best friends. We did, however, one time have the most horrendous neighbours. They were so bad, we considered selling up and moving.
Yeah. 6 in 10 people in the country do not get on with their neighbours. We have a very good neighbour. He's a doctor. Ruth's always in there.
Morning, Kevin, Liz.
What's wrong with my husband?
He's helped me out so many times. I phoned him, Kevin, oh, Jack's got a temperature, and he comes round. It's fantastic.
My neighbours invite
Funny,
me
you
to
never
play
phone him when
PlayStation.
I'm under the weather.
I don't. But actually, I think it's a horrible place to be if you've had a really big fallout with neighbours. And they were talking about this. Some people say they won't even go in their garden anymore if their neighbour's out in their
If
garden.
we've got really noisy neighbours or aggressive neighbours, I think if a lot of people, especially people in social housing where they don't have so much choice, it can be really, really intimidating. And I think there are millions of people in this country who are living there. When we had neighbours who moved out that stressed and someone lovely moved in, it was like living in a different home. I mean, we realised that every time we heard the front door open, when we lived in flat, we would do this. And then when they'd gone, we would just... Oh, we really like our home again.
Now, did this surprise you, Julia? A survey has found that women don't rate men as much use at all.
You mean men are good for nothing?
Good for nothing.
I only got married because I need someone to do the heavy lifting. I've got to be honest with you, and I have an issue with spiders. No, to be fair, no, he came pretty well trained. I think 3 types of men: trainable, untrainable, and ready trained. And he was definitely on the... Well, that look you're giving me. He was pretty well trained, but a lot of... Come on, the multitasking, the starting a domestic chore and finishing it.
Such an old-fashioned view, that is.
They said you're quite good at getting rid of spiders.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You're not.
No.
I do
I
that.
have
We've currently
only-
got a big black moth in our bedroom that he's scared to touch.
Which I'm
just
standing
leave-
by with the vacuum cleaner to suck it up.
No!
Yes, it's too... That's a good man's solution, isn't it? She wants to catch it in a jar and let it go. I've got the vacuum...
It's gone high up. It's gone high up in the corner, and it's just
Shall I
sitting
send
there.
mine over?
Piece of paper, let it crawl into the paper, and then just throw it out the
See?
window.
Gavin's
you don't
brave.
understand. It's so high up, and we think it's an endangered species. So anyway,
So we're going to vacuum
It
it.
says you can't iron shirts. Most of you can't dance.
Oh,
You're
no,
not good at
no.
using cushions and furnishings.
No, but would you want to be married to... I'm sorry, would you want... I do not understand women who say, why doesn't my husband want to be interested in the home furnishings?
No, leave it to us.
Well, I know why I am used as a sexual object at home, and I mean,
by?
some men fall into that category.
Yeah, that's true.
There's not much
By
else
the
I
moth.
can do.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Exactly right.
It's a very
Anyway,
good
let
point.
us
And we
know.
retire from the dance floor after injuries with sport. You know, that's the thing. That's why we're bad dancers.
I think we're going to get a lot of comments on that one.
Are there any guys watching there today? And we're constantly made to feel useless. Are we really? Oh, we are.
Shame.
We are. It's a woman's world. There's no doubt about it. And if you've anything to say about this, Julie and Gavin, they're going to go into the hub and take any abuse you
You're
want
going to
to
fight
hurl
your corner in
right
there now.
Yeah.
What's
Now.
a vipple?
VPL, visible panty line.
Oh. All right.
A vipple, we're talking vipples, we're talking lumps and bumps. They can spoil your summer, Julia, can't they, you see?
Absolutely.
With dresses, you don't know what it's like, you boys. We've got Lisa Fitzpatrick, our fashionista today. She's got the answer. Figure fixing, dresses, underwear, all that stuff. It's
We're
fabulous.
also going to be discussing that bedroom tax thing today. A mum who fears she and her disabled daughter will be forced out of the home that they love. Back with that after this break. Don't go away.